What's up everyone, and welcome to Jayconomics. My name is Jay and it's a pleasure to meet all of you. On this channel, we take a look at anything related to finance with a strong focus on investing. So if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, then please consider subscribing and liking this video to help me on my quest to befriend the big, bad YouTube algorithm. What's up everyone, and welcome back to Jayconomics. In this video, we're going to take a look at the psychedelic sector as a whole and briefly go through several companies in this space. I'll let you know which ones I'm invested into and whether I am holding, planning to sell, or have sold already. I'll also let you know if I'm looking at any other opportunities in the sector now that the big names have ran so much. Before we get into it, if you want to grow your portfolio exponentially, be sure to check out our Smart Money Squad Patreon. There are various tiers for your goals and budget. You get my buy and sell alerts instantly, my weekly watch list and entry points every Sunday, as well as updates throughout the week whenever I see something interesting in the market, and of course, access to the private Discord as well. The link for that is in the description below. We also have a free Discord with over 2,900 investors, so be sure to join that as well. It's a great community in there. And we're also on Instagram, so hit us up at Jayconomics with a follow on IG. So make that thumbs up turn blue and subscribe if you're new. It really does help the channel grow. And now without further ado, let's get into the video.
So you give people a single dose of psilocybin and their sense of dread about their cancer diagnosis goes away. Is that?
Rapidly. We found by the end of the dosing day, you could see that they were so much better, but when we looked at their measures of depression, anxiety, cancer-related hopelessness, demoralization, it really, rapidly dissolved. One day after getting psilocybin in our sample, 80% of the participants no longer met criteria for depression. They were in remission from it.
If you've been ignoring the shroom boom prior to this past week and prior to today, you can no longer look the other way. Shroomstocks saw another fantastic week last week and an absolutely explosive Monday, and have just been on a tear this past month. Trading volumes are up across the board. Psychedelic stocks are regularly in the news. This is all too reminiscent of the cannabis explosion just a few years back, but this has more legitimacy to it in my opinion. We got Canaccord and 8 Capital who have taken part in it as well. This tells me that although yes, the sector is running on insane hype right now, this is definitely not just a fad in terms of what it can do for mental health in the future. The overlap between the psychedelics and cannabis sectors is clear. They both involve substances that are federally illegal in the US and in many other countries around the world, putting off most institutional investors. Now, for risk-friendly investors such as myself, it's what makes psychedelics so attractive. The possibilities are endless, and it's a lot more plausible that this becomes a way to replace antidepressants more so than cannabis. So, clearly by now, you know that I'm very excited about this space, and yes, I have been invested in it for about a month now. I've been in and out of some of the following companies after some pops, and currently hold only 2 long positions in this space. I will potentially be adding to this or simply diversifying a little bit into the sector as time goes on, because I think this is just scratching the surface. So we're going to go through several of the names in the sector, but I do warn you that we're not going to go through all of them because there are many. I will recap and give you all of the tickers, however, at the end. So let's get into it. So let's start with Compass Pathways because it is the current market cap leader of the bunch with a market cap of just under $2 billion. It has a premier NASDAQ listing, a well-positioned psychedelics clinical research program, and it boasts big-name investors like Peter Thiel and Mike Novogratz as major backers. It raised $127.5 million for its IPO financing alone. So we're not going to get into too much of this one because I think there are just much better returns to be made in our next companies. These guys trade on the NASDAQ under the ticker CMPS. Second up is MindMed, and this one is a fan favorite. This one is second to Compass in market cap, but it's first in terms of the overall depth of its psychedelic drug clinical research program. MindMed broke out when Compass went public and hasn't looked back at all. It has its own high-profile investors such as Kevin O'Leary and Bruce Linton, and is seeking to uplist to the Nasdaq. We've seen an absolute explosion in the stock price here. I was in and out of this stock at first, but ended up taking a long position when this hit $2 Canadian. I have 325 shares currently, and also 200 warrants at $1.10, as you can see, up very big on this position. I'm very bullish on MindMed, and although they are seeing no revenue currently, this will trade at a premium given to the name recognition and big name investors backing it, as well as the popularity within retail investors. MindMed trades on the NEO exchange under the ticker MMED and OTC under the ticker MMEDF. You can also get MindMed warrants if you're in Canada. If you think the share price will appreciate from here, then it's a no-brainer. Just make sure that you know the terms and you know the expiry date. Next up, we got my personal favorite in this space right now, Vancouver-based Numinus Wellness. Now, Numinus has Health Canada approval and is already growing/harvesting psilocybin mushrooms. They have a way to generate profit legally and will be a big player long-term in my opinion. With Numinus, investor sentiment seems to have been particularly excited about the news that the company has launched its own psilocybin cultivation. Numinus has a vertically integrated business model. Its three divisions, Numinus Health, Numinus R&D, and Numinus Bioscience, encompass psilocybin cultivation, psilocybin-based clinical treatment, and its own psychedelic drug R&D. NUMI has announced that they're going to be conducting clinical trials of psilocybin-assisted psychotherapy for substance use disorders and MDMA-assisted psychotherapy for PTSD. This is going to allow NUMI to test and refine optimal protocols for delivery before these therapies are widely accessible. NUMI is a leader in the industry as the first public company in Canada to receive a license to produce and extract psilocybin from mushrooms, the first to complete a legal harvest of psilocybin mushrooms using this license, and the holder of a Health Canada dealer's license to import, export, possess, test, and distribute MDMA, psilocybin, and other psychedelics. Just wanted to quickly point out that NUMI also has warrants and they expire in 2022, so check those out if you're bullish on NUMI. Now, if you haven't been able to tell, I am a big fan of this company right now, and it's my largest position in the space. I currently have 3,000 warrants at just 19 cents, so I've already 9x'd my money on this in under a month, and after adding 150 shares on today's dip under $2, I now hold 1,150 shares at 80 cents a piece in one account, and another 450 shares at 48 cents in another account. So needless to say, this stock has made me very happy in the last 3 to 4 weeks. NUMI trades on the TSX Venture under the ticker symbol NUMI and OTC under the ticker LKYSF. Next up, we got MYCO. So let's talk a little bit about Denver-based Mydecine. Mydecine is the reincarnation of a cannabis company that was under the name of New Leaf Brands, and they began doing business as Mydecine Innovations Group in May 2020. The company has been actively developing its psychedelic drug research platform. Mydecine is working on developing its psychedelics telemedicine platform. They're also looking to extract value for shareholders by spinning out their cannabis assets. Mydecine actually has some similarities to NUMI, but one big difference between the two is capital right now. Numinus closed on an oversubscribed private placement of $4.6 million on September 10th, whereas Mydecine hasn't raised any capital since its $2 million financing in May. So it's likely that Mydecine will be seeking to do a raise in the near future. Numinus, on the other hand, has no immediate capital needs. Now, Mydecine trades on the CSE under the ticker MYCO and OTC under the ticker MYCOF. Next up, we got Revive. And Revive is a company focused on the research, development, and commercialization of novel cannabinoid-based and life sciences products. Revive's cannabinoid delivery technology is being advanced to fill the medical needs for diseases and disorders such as pain, inflammation, like liver disease, for example, and wound care. They entered the psilocybin market by acquiring Psilocin Pharma Corp earlier this year. They're working on cancer therapies, which is an interesting vertical to have, and also thin film oral delivery, which is something no other company is doing right now. These guys trade on the CSE under the ticker RVV and OTC under the ticker RVVFF. Next up, we got Cybin, and Cybin Corp is a leading life sciences company focused on psychedelic drug development, unique delivery mechanisms, improved novel compounds, and protocols that target psychiatric and neurological conditions. These guys trade only on the NEO right now under the ticker CYBN, so it's only available to Canadians right now. As mentioned earlier, I've been in and out of Cybin and made pretty good profits. Next up, we got Tripp, and this is Light Holland Corp. And their business is very different than the other ones we've looked at so far because they're focused on the recreational side of things. They're based in the Netherlands, and their business revolves around the production, growth, and sale of recreational and potentially EU GMP medical grade truffle products in clearly defined legal markets. This is an interesting play because they, unlike others in this space, will be generating profit very shortly. Now, these guys trade on the CSE under the ticker Tripp and OTC under the ticker TRUFF. I also swung this one, buying it at 18 cents and selling at 23 cents for a 30% gain, which obviously looks kind of bad today when Tripp went up another 80%. So I definitely missed out on that and I sold a bit too early, but I did put that money in another play that, I'm also up on. So, sometimes this happens, you can't beat yourself up over that. As I mentioned, there are other public companies in the space such as Buzz, SPOR, LOBE, HAVN, and FTRP. Now, these are the tickers of those companies. If you want to go check them out, you should. But, this video is getting quite long and I don't want to make it too long. So if you're interested in those tickers, then go check them out. Personally, I'm intrigued by Buzz as we've seen crazy volume in this one, so I expect it to keep going up. And also Spore, because I'm attracted to Spore because compared to others in the sector, they are undervalued, they have 3 verticals, and most importantly, they have very cheap warrants. And if you've been watching Jayconomics long enough, well, you know how much I love my warrants, and you can see why with the gains I've made on both NUMI and MindMed warrants with such minimal book value. So I may very well take a flyer on the Spore warrants. Of course, it's very speculative, but it's something that to me would be worth the risk. And also keep an eye out for a new shroom IPO, which is Tripp Therapeutics, ticker symbol TRYP, and this is going to trade on the CSE only. It's going to IPO on the 17th, so for you Canadians out there, make sure you keep an eye on this. Now, there's no sure way to predict the future. MindMed had hype, institutional money, we had the NASDAQ listing announcement, and then, others in the sector have kind of followed that hype. But this is short-term growth. Understand that this is very speculative by nature and things can change very quickly. Now, for those of us who got in very early, well then, the risk is basically off the table in terms of losing money. But those of you looking to get in now, just be aware of these risks before you just jump in blindly. Always do your own research. Now, if we shift our focus to the long term, MindMed will need one of its therapeutics to get FDA approval. If that happens, it will be massive for them. NUMI, on the other hand, is quite unique because they're establishing therapeutic applications through the facilities model and they've got a pilot for it open now in Vancouver. They're basically betting that when approval happens and drugs are in the field to treat opioid addiction, PTSD, anxiety, etc., well then doctors are going to want to outsource the application of these treatments to a facility for implementation like inpatient treatment or being referred out to sports therapy specialists for certain injuries. To me, this sounds like a very reasonable gamble to take, and I can easily see this happening. If you also think that this is realistic, then NUMI may very well be a great play for you long term while also getting to enjoy this short term wave. Now, I don't think that there's going to be just one winner in the space. You're talking about something that may very well replace the existing prescriptions for things like anxiety, depression, and addiction, all massive problems that need better solutions. Now, this, in my opinion, is going to be a sustained emerging sector boom, with a lot, if not all of these companies getting some great share appreciation, which we've already seen happen already. Now, of course, stocks don't only go up. There will be volatility, and there will likely even be a crash at some point, maybe more than one. But who knows how long and how much these will run until that point. Higher highs and higher lows, that's all that matters. Now, if you don't like to speculate, look ahead and think outside the box or take chances, then these investments are definitely not for you. But if so, and if you're willing to take a chance, one of these could very well be the single most valuable investment you can make as of today. So that wraps it up for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that it gave you a good insight into the psychedelic market. Let me know in the comments below if you hold any positions in the space and in which companies you hold them in. And guys, if this video brought you some value, then please gently tap that like button for me, as it really does help the channel a lot. And if you want more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell to be notified when any new video comes out. And of course, check out the Patreon if you want access to all of the perks like the private Discord and access to all of my stocks and plays in a timely manner, and much, much more. Please feel free to join the free Smart Money Squad Discord server. And until next time, take care and invest smart.